Hey everybody, Jerrod Sessler here. I'm here with Allison Daniel, and step in here so they can see you. She just pled a case for the Kings, for the King Ranch, and honestly, I think I just had a foreign language class. So Allison, can you help us understand what just happened in there?
Sure. We filed a summary judgment motion on behalf of the Kings, and we are seeking to vindicate their jury trial right. They were issued restoration orders and penalty orders facing over $2 million essentially in costs associated with them, and were not afforded a jury. It was essentially aerial photography and citation issued and pay up in 30 days or else.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different aspects to this case that they're having to deal with. This one is specifically related to their Seventh Amendment rights, which evidently, it's news to me, are not upheld here in Washington State. And so I know there's a bunch of other different aspects to this, but and I also know, and I think a lot of the viewers know, that the King Ranch has been basically attacked by our own government, by the Department of Ecology, for having stock ponds that allow, they're totally legal and they're actually in the law books, for allowing their cattle to be able to water and for other wildlife to be able to use. And so a couple months ago we were here, and I know we were directly asking for their Seventh Amendment rights, and they were denied. The next week, Oliver came and pled that. And so how is that different than what you pled today?
Well, last time we asked for a preliminary injunction, and that was essentially an early request for relief. We asked the court, basically, hey, we know that you just got this, but this is really important and it's an emergency, so we need relief now. The court denied that, in part because the Seventh Amendment is not yet incorporated against the states. But then we had full briefing on the issue of both the Seventh Amendment and Washington's own protection of the jury trial right in the Washington Constitution, Article 1, Section 21. In some respects, it's even more protective of the jury trial right than the Seventh Amendment is. But we're arguing that either way, the Kings should have a jury.
Yeah, and it was interesting, too, listening to the other side. There's some attorneys there representing the Department of Ecology. They made this complaint in past hearings where they were basically saying that the Kings were responsible for bringing this complaint, and yet they were asking for relief from the complaint. So what are they? I mean, that seems like what do you want to call it? Legal gymnastics. What are they doing there?
That's exactly what it is. They are trying to confuse the court, and hopefully the court can see through it. They made an analogy in their brief which makes no sense. About a parking ticket, and something about a parking ticket in the appealing that parking ticket is what starts the issue. But no, any natural look at a parking ticket would say the government is what issued the ticket, the citation in the first place. Otherwise, you're just parking. Yeah. So what they're saying here is that the Kings' exercise of their appeal of Ecology's order or fines is what started this whole thing off, when in reality, it's Ecology's order and their fines to the Kings that started this. So,
yeah, it's interesting. And to me, the parking ticket analogy was confusing because I was thinking, okay, well, yeah, I guess it is the Kings because they parked in the wrong spot or they illegally parked, but that wasn't their argument at all. It was 3 steps past that they were arguing.
You know, that's a good point, because the issue of whether somebody parked wrong is the fact determination. And it's the same thing here. Whether these stock ponds are wetlands, whether they were filled, whether there's an impact, are fact determinations. And fact determinations historically in 1889 and all the way back to the signing of the Magna Carta in 1215 were for a jury.
A jury trial, which is the exact reason why we need it. Well, thank you, Allie, for traveling up here. With Pacific Legal, right?
That's right.
Pacific Legal Foundation. They're coming to help us. This is a huge issue. I know it doesn't seem like it's a big issue, and I know that a lot of this legal machinations is hard to sort of get our arms around, but this is a tremendous threat. And I'll say, from my perspective, it's a huge threat because our government exists with our consent. The entire load of fuel that the government has in their fuel tank is because of our consent and nothing else. And in this case, in the case of Mr. Grief up in Spokane, in the case of Chuck Rogers, in the case of the Fodeys, in the case of hundreds of other farmers, ranchers, and ag producers that have been put out of business by this government, is completely unconstitutional, and they're using the authority that they get from us to come against us. And last I checked, that's the definition of tyranny. So we have to stand against this. We have to engage. the Kings are facing literally hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fees and fines. The Fodies have spent over $1 million defending themselves. You can go to support it. You can go to SaveKingRanch.com and certainly be praying for the people, attorneys, great attorneys like Ali and Oliver, who've come to our state to plead these things for us, and for the Kings and all the other families that are affected by these unconstitutional rulings. So thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you bringing your expertise to Washington State. We need it. We're an embarrassment to the country, and we're absolutely set on fixing it.
Thank you
So
for covering this case. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.